Hi, welcome to the Glowing Skin series. I'm Christine Ho, and today I have Dr. John McGrail. He is the creator of the McGrail method of quantum synthesis. So, hello, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Hi, Christine. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Oh, yes, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here too as well. So, yes, please tell us your personal story.
Well, I mean, it's a long story. I've had the benefit of having several successful careers. I started as a military aviator. I was an airline pilot, got into film and TV for a long time, and a lot of very different positions. And throughout all of them, the common theme was that I always ended up being an instructor or a coach or a mentor. And I got to a point in my life where I was sort of at a crossroads professionally and trying to figure out what I really wanted to do. And I realized that that was what I got the most joy out of, regardless of the industry I had been in. And so I started looking. I was 40 something at the time, and I started looking for ways that I could do that professionally. I looked into school teaching, I looked into divinity school, naturopathic medicine, psychology, and I ended up with hypnotherapy for a variety of reasons. One, I had used it myself in my younger years to help me sort of clean my life up and rediscover myself. That's what I like to call it. And two, it only took a year to get certified, and I had a mortgage, I had a wife, I had to work, so I could do some consulting while I was going to school and actually open up a practice pretty quickly. I got certified as a clinical hypnotherapist at the Hypnosis Motivation Institute, which happens to be out here in LA and was the first federally accredited college of hypnotherapy. Opened my own private practice, and then as I built that, I also went back and secured a Ph.D. in clinical hypnotherapy, and the rest is sort of history. For the last 16 years, I haven't worked a day in my life. I just love what I do, and it was through that process of doing my doctoral dissertation that I came up or devised what I call the synthesis method, which is very, very powerful for helping people create change in their lives. And that became the basis of my book, The Synthesis Effect.
Okay, yeah, that sounds amazing.
Well, thank you.
Yes, of course. So, how does hypnosis also relate to skincare?
Well, hypnosis is just a state of consciousness, but whether it's the health of your skin, which of course is the largest organ in our body, or the health of any part of your body or your emotions, everything starts in the mind. And of course, in today's society, we are so acutely and chronically stressed and anxious. I mean, it's like an epidemic. And when you live in that way, if you're chronically stressed or anxious, what happens is that energy has to go someplace. And in most people, because they don't know how to properly manage it or process it or get rid of it, it goes into the body. And the skin is one of the great places where we see these things like psoriasis and eczema, rosacea, all of those conditions and many, many more, even just chronically dry skin, are associated with an emotional issue. And hypnosis and hypnotherapy is a very powerful tool to help manage and transcend those issues. And so, I work on this all the time. When you get rid of the stress, you get rid of the anxiety, and you rebalance your energies, suddenly the skin conditions go away, and often without medication. And that's not for everybody, but it does have a huge effect. Everything starts in your mind. The health of your body and the health of your emotions, it's all produced by the mind. And hypnosis is a very powerful tool for helping us get our minds working the way we want them to rather than the way they are, which is usually in a way that's not serving us very well.
Oh, yes, of course. So what would you say are some signs and symptoms that a person would need to go seek hypnotherapy?
Well, need is a big word because there is no silver bullet. But, what I like to say when I do lectures or workshops or seminars is that everybody has stuff in their lives. There is no person on earth that is just living a carefree, wonderful life where everything is going well. And so anybody that is feeling stuck in some way, whether it's an unwanted or unhealthy habit, a fear or a phobia, anything that's holding them back from living the way they want to live, would make them a candidate for some sort of therapeutic protocol that can help them transcend it. Our natural state of being is well-being. It's not suffering. And so if you're chronically stressed, if you're anxious, if you're afraid to get in the car and drive on the freeway or get on an airplane, or you have a habit that you can't get over, whether it's, biting your nails or smoking cigarettes, it really doesn't matter. If your life's not working the way you want it to, then hypnotherapy can be, it's not the answer for sure, but it works for so many people because it's natural and it's very powerful. It's been in use for 7,000 years. If your life's not working well and you can't fix it on your own and you need a little help, then hypnotherapy might be a solution. And it's certainly one I would encourage people to explore because it works so well and so powerfully when you're working with someone that knows what they're doing.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty great, actually. So are there any possible signs or symptoms that would show on the skin that a person, should probably go out and seek some hypnotherapy?
Well, as I mentioned a little while ago, depending on your skin condition, I mean, if you have one of these conditions like eczema or rosacea, I always have trouble with that word, it's interesting, or psoriasis, all those conditions have a stress component related to them. There is an emotional component. In fact, any condition, any disease that we suffer has an emotional and psychological component to it. So it just depends on how it manifests. And I know that many years ago, I got into a period of my life where I was incredibly stressed and I didn't even know it. And I suddenly had this horrible case of psoriasis break out. My whole face looked like a big bubble, and it was all the stress. So if you're suffering from one of those conditions, and if the traditional medications that they give you aren't working, and if you know that there's something in your life emotionally or psychologically, spiritually that's not working, then hypnosis could be a very powerful adjunctive therapy at the very least. And I've had so many people over the years that these conditions just go away, as and many more, IBS and Crohn's and all these kinds of weird emotionally based syndromes can be treated, at least partially, if not completely, with hypnotherapy. It is a very powerful protocol. So, the short answer to your question, Christine, is that if you have something like that, take a look at your life. How is your life working? Are you stressed? Are you anxious? Is there something, that you're really struggling with that could be part of the cause of your skin condition, whether it's chronically dry skin or one of the other ones that, rashes and that sort of thing. In fact, there are, just general dermatitis, this rash that is just caused by stress. Lots and lots of people suffer from it. And those all can be overcome naturally.
Oh, yes, of course. So can you explain a little bit better in detail of how hypnotherapy really works for a person?
Sure. Well, hypnosis is a natural state of consciousness. That's the first thing that everybody has to understand. We all experience hypnotic moments every day. Anytime you watch a good movie and you're feeling emotion, or anytime you daydream, and I'm infamous for getting on the freeway and sort of getting lost in my thoughts, and the next thing I know, I'm miles past my exit, and you suddenly say, oh my God, where, or you drive someplace and you don't remember how you got there. When you go to sleep at night, you go through the same process from consciousness to sleep that you go through when you enter hypnosis. So it's a natural state of consciousness. The reason it's such a powerful state of consciousness for changing things is because it creates a very open and very receptive state of mind. Our mind becomes open to new possibilities, to unlearning what isn't working, whatever that may be, and then relearning what will help it. Most of our behavior, our attitudes, our values, our beliefs, most of what governs the way we live our lives is occurring at a subconscious level. And our subconscious mind works very much like a computer. It's not actually the way it works, but that's what it feels like, and that's what we observe. And once we get these programs running, like any computer, our subconscious mind will play those programs over and over and over and over again. Whether they're good or bad for us, it doesn't matter because the subconscious can't tell. Hypnosis or hypnotherapy uses that state of consciousness called hypnosis to create that open state of mind, and it allows us to communicate, if you will, with that subconscious mind, that 3-year-old child, because that's about as old as it ever gets, that doesn't know the difference between good or bad or happy or sad. All it knows is this is a positive program I'm running or a negative program, and it will do either one. And we essentially can help the mind reprogram itself for the new patterns, to get rid of the stress, to feel more balanced, or whatever it happens to be for a given person. We can use it not just to get rid of things that aren't working, but we can use it to help people perform better. I work with a lot of actors and writers, musicians and athletes at all levels, from superstars to wannabes, to help them boost their performance. So hypnotherapy is using hypnosis to create change, whatever that may be. And it's a change, of course, that the client has to want. But it is a very, very powerful protocol. And as I mentioned a little earlier, it's been in use for 7,000 years. And if something's been around for 7,000 years, there's a reason for it. And the reason is it works.
Yeah, no, that's really great. It's just also one of those things to where I do recall, I'm sure some people of the audience will also be, pointing out as well that of how like in many different movies, TV shows and what have you, in hypnotherapy, they can actually make people do things against their will and things like that.
Right.
I'm pretty sure hypnotherapy doesn't really go that way.
No, unfortunately, because it's so ubiquitous, because it's a natural state of consciousness, it can be used in a stage show to entertain people. And yes, in books and movies, take poetic license you wouldn't normally do. You can't take over anybody's mind. I tell my clients and students all the time, if I could make people do what I want them to do, I would solve the world's problems in a matter of days. I'd just create this little army of minions and we'd fix things. It just doesn't work that way. All we can do with hypnosis is help people create the change and growth and transformation that they want. And so if anybody's afraid of it, or they think it's voodoo, or, there are some actually religious doctrines that think it's the work of the devil. It's not the work of the devil. It is a natural state of consciousness that we all experience every day. And just think about watching a movie, for instance. If you watch a really good movie, you get hooked into the movie and you're having an experience. You're feeling real feelings. You're feeling emotions. You are responding to suggestions. As I mentioned, that is a form of natural hypnosis. The mind becomes open, it becomes receptive, and the part of the mind that would normally say, hey, Christine, what's the matter with you? Why are you crying? This is a movie. Come on, get over it. And that guy's not dead. You just saw him on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night. When we're in hypnosis, that part of the mind, the critic that says, no, 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 shuts off for a little while. And so during those 2 hours, we have a real experience. It feels real. Then the movie ends and we leave the theater, or we turn off the TV, and maybe for a few minutes we're inspired or whatever, and then we go back to our normal lives. Well, when we use hypnosis on purpose in a clinical setting, it becomes a much more profound experience because we work at a much deeper level. And that's what helps people actually change their behaviors, their feelings, their attitudes, their beliefs, whatever it may be that they're trying to change.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a very good explanation. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know and understand about that a lot better too.
Great.
Yes, so also tell us about your McGrail method of quantum synthesis.
Well, synthesis is a bigger process, actually. And it's the product, as I mentioned, when I was doing my doctoral work, I was trying to figure out what I was going to write about. And I really, I was thinking, what do I have to contribute to human behavior? Humans have been behaving like this for years and years and years. And I really was sort of stuck. And then I realized that I had by that time, I had over 1,000 case files in front of me. And I don't know, I got this inspired idea one day to say, I wonder if I analyzed all these clients, 1,000 of them, went through their folders and separated the people that did really, really well and very quickly from the people who did okay, from the very few people, fortunately, that didn't do well at all. And fortunately, there are very few of those because I wouldn't be in business. I wonder if I could find some common denominators, some commonalities. And sure enough, I decided to do that. And it didn't take very long to realize that there were some common denominators, some common things that the people who did really well quickly brought to the party. And through that process, I came up with realizing that, hey, if you do this, and this at a conscious level, and then you bring hypnosis and some of these other tools in at a subconscious level, and you bring them together, it's sort of almost like a formula or models. You bring these all together, people do really well really quickly. They get over their issues. And so I tried to figure out what to call it. And when I realized that we were bringing different models, different tools, different techniques, different energies to bear to create a stronger person, or a better you, which is the name of my company, That is the meaning of the word synthesis, to bring disparate ingredients together to create a stronger whole. So that's how the term synthesis came about. But what it really is a process that allows us to use both the conscious, cognitive, logical mind with the much more powerful subconscious mind. We bring them together and get them working in alignment, which is the ultimate goal of all therapy. And it happens quickly and profoundly. So that's the essence of the synthesis process. It's completely natural. It's very powerful. It uses a lot of tools that have been around since the dawn of civilization, and some models that I created that are the result of the latest scientific discoveries. But what happens is that the people who apply it and do the work and embrace the process change their lives very, very quickly.
Okay, yeah, that is very great. Very good to share with everyone, especially.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yes, of course. So how can it also help all of us, each of us, to become our best self?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I have a firm belief that our natural state of being is well-being, and almost everybody, I'll say everybody, at some point in their lives, sometimes many point in their lives, we have issues that are holding us back. And in our modern society, I don't know where exactly this came from, but if you have a toothache, you go to the dentist. If your car gets banged up, you take it to the mechanic. But God forbid, if you have an emotional issue or a habit you can't break or something that's holding you back emotionally or spiritually, you're supposed to suck it up and get through it on your own. I don't know where we got that attitude, but people are so, and it's changing, fortunately, but we live with these issues that are holding us back. We're stuck. We hate it. We don't like the way our lives are going, but we don't do anything about it. Oh, I'm not going to get help for that because there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with us. Everybody has stuff. And almost everybody, because of the way the human mind has evolved, when you have stuff, when you're stuck, you're probably going to need some help to get unstuck. It's just the way the human mind has evolved. We are tenacious about hanging on to the familiar. Even when the familiar is painful, human beings will hang on to it. And so when you're not feeling that your life is working the way you want it to, you owe it to yourself to get some help. And if you get the right help, you can undo it. And then you can live the way you're supposed to, in a state of well-being and not dis-ease.
Okay, yeah, that's very good advice for everyone. So yes, your rule number one is life is supposed to be fun. So
Yes.
isn't it possible that some people can take that the wrong way?
Oh, of course, absolutely. It depends on how you interpret the word fun. Many people, unfortunately, when they think of fun, they think of pure enjoyment, parties, gaiety, hedonistic experiences, and to think that life is going to be an endless series of those sorts of experiences is ridiculous. But sometimes people will interpret it that way. What I mean by life is supposed to be fun, I'll go back to what I just said. Our natural state of being is well-being. No one is born with stress, anxiety, addictions. We learn all of that stuff, low self-esteem or lack of self-confidence or limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough, worthy enough, this enough, or that enough. We learn all those things. And so what I mean by life is supposed to be fun is that when you're really living powerfully, you really like, first of all, you love yourself. You like the choices you're making. You like the relationships you have. You like the way you're doing your life. You get up in the morning, you look forward to the day. Hopefully you love what you do to make money, because most of us, as you so well know, most of us have to do something to make money. Very few of us don't have to do anything. So if you do something that you love, that you're passionate about to make your money, well, then you're not working. It's really great. Like I haven't worked in 16 years. And so when you learn to live that way, you begin to generate this sort of energy, and it just continues to go on and on and on. And life works really well. That's what I mean by life is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an enjoyable process. It is not supposed to be just pain and suffering. Now, is it going to be perfect? No. No one's ever going to live a perfect life. No one ever has. But it's amazing, Christine, how easily and fairly quickly you can learn how to live your life virtually free of suffering. And that is a very, very enjoyable experience. And anybody, I really mean this, anybody has the ability to do it if they get the right assistance. And that's what the synthesis process and my book and my practice and everything I do is all about, is to help people create that life.
Okay, that's great. So yeah, just for a measure for the audience, usually how many sessions does it normally take to help a person turn their life around?
And some people live with issues for years and years and years, and some, for some people it's a new thing. So there's no set answer. I can say that as a rule, it is considered a short-term course of therapy. People are used to sometimes being in psychotherapy for months and months and years. And with hypnotherapy, in the hands of an experienced and talented practitioner, we're talking weeks and weeks usually. So for my clients, on average, 2 to 6 sessions is sort of average. With cigarette smokers, which is the only one I can really tell you, it's 1 session. One double session, but it's 1 session. So it's a number of weeks, but very rarely does it go more than that. And again, a lot of it has to do with the person's desire, their willingness to commit to the process. There's so many factors that you can't just say, well, this is it. But I do know that my smoking cessation program, which is very popular, is some prep work up front, 1 hypnotherapy session, and you're done.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Definitely good to help out for people looking at trying to figure out about hypnotherapy for themselves. So yes, what are some possible tips that you can give to help for people to help prevent any need for hypnosis?
Well, there's never a need for hypnosis. It's something that you might want to do, but the best tip I could give anyone to help them prevent the need for the kind of assistance we talked about is to get their lives working the way they want them to. First of all, get the help if you need it, and then maintain it. It's like your car. If you take really good care of your car, you change the oil, you rotate the tires, you do the maintenance that they want you to do, your car will last for a very, very long time. And if you take care of yourself, your life, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, you have to have all 3 energies in balance. If you get those energies in balance and you're willing to do the work, it's not a lot of work, doesn't take a lot of time, but you do the work to maintain that balance, then you're probably not going to need as much assistance. You may need some assistance to get to that state to begin with, because most people, unfortunately, in our modern culture are extremely imbalanced energetically. That's one of the reasons that stress and anxiety are so rampant. I mean, it literally is an epidemic now. And that's because most of us are living out of energetic balance. It's as simple as that.
Okay, yeah, that's very good to learn and help others as well. So what are you most proud of from 2017?
Well, every year I'm proud of something, but I guess probably the thing that I'm most proud of is that my methodology is getting a lot more exposure, and we're in the process of developing a television show which will reach many, many more people. And I think what I'm most proud of is that after a lot of years of really hard work, writing the book and dealing with thousands of clients all over the country and all over the world, that's the beauty of what I do. I can work with people remotely. To get to this point where the Dr. John TV show is in development, and possibly also a radio show, I'm extremely proud of that, because a lot of that came together in 2017, and just the people that I've been able to reach and help realize that they can empower their lives. I think that's, I'm always proud of that. But 2017 was a great year. I did a lot of media.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. So which channel and what time could they hope to watch it on, and
Well,
which channel?
we're not anywhere near that yet. We're still in development, and what a lot of people don't realize is that the industry, the television and film industry, is sometimes glacial in the way things work. So it could be 2018 before we actually get it completely together and get a production company all signed. I mean, it just takes a lot of time. So it's not there yet, but it's in development, which is very cool, and I'm pretty sure it's going to happen.
So I guess also.
Certainly hope so.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so what are you also most excited about for 2018?
Well, hopefully the show is going to actually become reality. I'm working on a new book, which I'm very proud of. I've got my my new video series, A Better You, in a minute or two, that if anybody's out there is interested, it's just, you can go to my YouTube channel, Dr. John McGrail, and I've got 37 episodes produced. They're just little short videos that come out every week or two. Sometimes every third week, depending on my time availability. And it's just, it presents little hacks, little tips and tricks and tidbits to help people live their life more powerfully on a day-to-day basis. So that's really going well. And we're working on a speaking series. And so all of this media is starting to come together. And I'm hoping 2018 is going to be the year that it really gets launched, because my whole purpose is to reach as many people as possible, to let them know that if you're stuck in your life, you don't have to be, and there are ways to create that life I talked about, to find your fun, whatever that is. So I'm hoping that 2018 is going to be where things really start to come together and actually manifest. And when they do, we'll be able to reach many more people.
And so, as well as, you know, if you're doing a television series, especially, or a speaking series, or radio show, or what have you, is there like any way of being able to do hypnosis to a mass group of people versus just one person? Or is it just better to only do it with one person?
Well, you look at their own sensibilities, and they have their own history, they have their own issues. And even with smokers, for instance, you know, there are a lot of programs out there where you can go to a hotel and you spend all day with a hypnotherapist, and, you know, you supposedly quit smoking. And for some people it probably works, but you really can't genericize therapy because of the unique nature of every individual. So people who work one-on-one will always do better, and usually have you know, more quick results, because the therapist can tailor their program to their specific needs, their history, their values, whatever it is that they have going for them. Because your stress and someone else's stress may be caused by different things, which means that there can't be just a generic hypnotherapy session that's going to solve it. So most people do better individually. Now, as far as general empowerment workshops, when we do a synthesis workshop, and that brings a whole bunch of people together for a day, and it's usually a full day workshop, then we teach the models and the process of synthesis, which anybody can do. That's why I wrote the book. If you buy the book, you can do it yourself. And so people get a head start, but still they may need a little extra help. So that, yeah, there's no mass hypnosis is not particularly effective as a rule.
Of course, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So yes, tell us also about your free gift.
Oh, my free gift. Yes, my free gift is a download. It's an audio file, and it is a free introduction to hypnosis. The title of it is This is Hypnosis. And you can just sit back for about 13 minutes, and I will guide you through an introduction to hypnosis. You'll get to experience it and see how delightful it feels, because it is just incredibly relaxing, and you feel so refreshed when you're done. And that is my free gift. Okay,
great. So yes, if you would like access to that free gift, please click on the link below. So do you have any specific hypnosis type of therapies related, you know, directly related to skincare at all?
Well, not directly related to skincare, but if someone has the symptoms, I work with a lot of people that have psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, and as I mentioned before, because there's always a stress component related to those conditions, that very often through hypnotherapy, those conditions resolve themselves much more quickly than with just the topical medications or even the internal medications that people might take. But there, you know, again, everybody's different. Why your skin erupted and why someone else's skin erupted could be two different things. So there's no general sort of, this is what you do, which is part of the fun of this work, because every person, every case, every session is different, and it really keeps you on your toes as a practitioner. And that's what keeps me from ever getting bored, because no two people are alike. And even though they may have the same issue, the same skin condition, the underlying reasons or the emotional reasons that contribute to that skin condition could be very, very different.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah, definitely very helpful for a lot of people to learn, I think, too.
It is a very powerful technique to create balance in your life. And most of the stuff that bothers us, whether it's emotional or physical or even spiritual, is, as I mentioned earlier, is created by an energetic imbalance. And hypnotherapy and my synthesis process are very, very effective in helping people recreate the natural balance that we all are born with. And once you do, you feel really, really good. And a lot of these issues simply resolve themselves. And so it's a great way, it's a great tool in a bigger program for maintaining health and wellness, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, so have you also worked directly in correlation with other different types of doctors as well?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I work with physicians, I work with psychiatrists, I work with psychologists, I work with dentists, surgeons, all the medical profession, because what we do is can be so universally applied. Pain management, pre and post-op care. We can work with cancer patients to help them overcome the side effects of chemo and radiation therapy. We can work with AIDS patients to boost their T cell count. As I mentioned before, everything that happens in our body has to start in the mind. And hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and some of these other techniques are all about helping us get the mental part of it, the emotional part of it in balance. And because nothing happens in the body that doesn't get processed by the mind. So I work with I have a wonderful network of medical professionals, healthcare professionals that we cross-refer, because, you know, very often they say two heads are better than one. Well, sometimes two practitioners are better than one, because we can work on different parts of a condition. For instance, someone's going to have an operation. We can get them mentally prepared, emotionally prepared, so that their body's in the best place it can be. And then we program their minds, or help them program their minds for minimal tissue damage, minimal blood loss, and maximum healing. And, you know, you'd be amazed at the difference and how quickly people, you know, do that. And their surgeons are amazed. Like, how could you have healed so quickly? Well, because my mind is controlling my body, and that's what we programmed it to do. So the possibilities are nearly endless. And if anybody goes to my website, hypnotherapylosangeles.com. That's all one word, hypnotherapylosangeles.com. You can get a free download there. It's called 80 Things You Can Do with Hypnosis, which just outlines some of the more common conditions and issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. But you would be amazed at how quickly and powerfully you can get your life working the way you want it to. So it's a very, very powerful technique. And as I mentioned earlier, it's been in use for so long, and the reason is that it works. Now, it's not a silver bullet, and there's no guarantee, and, you know, there's no one thing that works for everybody, but this is as universal as it gets, as far as I know.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And so I believe that's about the time we have right now. Bye.
Bye-bye.